21.4 Central Neural System. The brain is the central information processing organ of our body and acts as the command and control system. It controls the voluntary movements, balance of the body, functioning of vital involuntary organs, example lungs, heart, kidney, etc., thermoregulation, hunger and thirst, circadian rhythm 24-hour of our body, activities of several endocrine glands and human behavior. It is also the site of processing of vision, hearing, speech, memory, intelligence, emotions, and thoughts. The human brain is well protected by the skull. Inside the skull, the brain is covered by cranial meninges consisting of an outer layer called dura mater, a very thin middle layer called arachnoid, and an inner layer which is in contact with the brain tissue called pia mater. The brain can be divided into three major parts: forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Figure 21.4. Forebrain. The forebrain consists of cerebrum, thalamus, and hypothalamus. Figure 21.4. Cerebrum forms the major part of the human brain. A deep cleft divides the cerebrum longitudinally into two halves, which are termed as the left and right cerebral hemisphere. The hemispheres are connected by a tract of nerve fibers called corpus callosum. The layer of cells which covers the cerebral hemisphere is called cerebral cortex and is thrown into prominent folds. The cerebral cortex is referred to as the gray matter due to its grayish appearance. The neuron cell bodies are concentrated here, giving the color. The cerebral cortex contain motor areas, sensory areas, and large regions that are neither clearly sensory nor motor in function. These regions are called as the association areas, are responsible for complex functions like intersensory association, memory, and communication. Fibers of tracts are covered with the myelin sheet which constitute the inner part of cerebral hemisphere. They give an opaque white appearance to the layer and hence is called the white matter. The cerebral wraps around a structure called thalamus, which is a major coordinating center for sensory and motor signaling. Another very important part of the brain called hypothalamus lies at the base of the thalamus. The hypothalamus contains a number of centers which control body temperature, urge for eating and drinking. It also contains several groups of neurosecretory cells which secrete hormones called hypothalamic hormones. The inner parts of cerebral hemisphere and a group of associated deep structures like amygdala, hippocampus, etc. form a complex structure called the limbic lobe or the limbic system. Along with hypothalamus, it is involved in the regulation of sexual behavior, expression of emotional reactions, example excitement, pleasure, rage and fear, and motivation. Midbrain. The midbrain is located between the thalamus, hypothalamus of the forebrain and pons of the hindbrain. A canal called the cerebral aqueduct passes through the midbrain. The dorsal portion of the midbrain consists mainly of four round swelling lobes called corpora quadrigemina. Midbrain and hindbrain forms the brain stem. Hindbrain. The hindbrain comprises pons, cerebellum, and medulla, also called the medulla oblongata. Pons consist of fiber tracts that interconnect different regions of the brain. Cerebellum has very covulated surface in order to provide the additional space for many more neurons. The medulla of the brain is connected to the spinal cord. The medulla contains center which control respiration, cardiovascular reflexes, and gastric secretions. 21.5 Reflex action and reflex arc. You must have experienced a sudden withdrawal of a body part which comes in contact with objects that are extremely hot, cold, pointed, or animals that are scary or poisonous. The entire process of response to a peripheral nervous stimulation that occurs involuntarily, that is without conscious effort or thought, and require the involvement of a part of the central nervous system is called a reflex action. The reflex pathway comprises at least one efferent neuron receptor and one efferent effector or exciter neuron appropriately arranged in series. Figure 21.5. The efferent neuron receives signal from a sensory organ and transmits the impulse via a dorsal nerve root into the CNS at the level of spinal cord. The efferent neuron then carries signals from CNS to the effector. The stimulus and response thus forms a reflex arc as shown below in the knee jerk reflex. You should carefully study figure 21.5 to understand the mechanism of a knee jerk reflex. 21.6 Sensory reception and processing. Have you ever thought, how do you feel the climatic changes in the environment? How do you see an object and its color? How do you hear a sound? The sensory organs detect all the types of changes in the environment and send appropriate signals to the CNS, where all the inputs are processed and analyzed. Signals are then sent to different parts center of the brain. This is how you can sense changes in the environment. In the following sections, you will be introduced to the structure and functioning of the eye, sensory organ for vision, and the ear, sensory organ for hearing.
Goodbye.